Hello and welcome to The Hearing, our music review show here on the channel. I'm John.
And from Chicago's North Side, I'm Scotto.
And without any further ado, on to this week's album, which is from 2018, You Say I'm Too Much, I Say You're Not Enough by Estrons. Yes, we've reviewed Estrons before in our test episode back toward the end of 17. But this is kind of a tribute episode. The band recently split up. More on that in a moment. Estrons were an alternative rock band from Cardiff, Wales that traces its roots back to 2013 when singer Tally Kallstrom met guitarist Roger Daniel. They began collaborating musically, which led to the creation of the band, which is the name of which is Welsh for strangers, misfits, or aliens. In a post tour after they split up, Tally specifically, I think it was Tally, specifically said it's strangers. And that's been the translation that they've often used. The pair went through several rhythm sections before eventually finding bassist and producer Steph Pringle and their previous drummer Toby Bang. I didn't quote the number this time because I didn't want to search for the episode we recorded last time, but I think it was 12 bassists and drummers before finding Toby and Steph. Toby left, and then they went on to record a series of singles and EPs. Toby left the band in early 2018 and was replaced by Adam Thomas. And then in late 2018, they finally released their debut album, which is the one we're reviewing, their debut and only album. And then on February 20th of this year, 5 days before my birthday, the band suddenly announced that they were disbanding ahead of a UK headlining tour, which was subsequently canceled. They split up out of nowhere with a tour booked.
Yeah. And I mean, they probably would have been able to start touring other countries and everything after that, but
Tally and Rodri have had a notoriously contentious relationship. In the post where they announced, I think I'm reasonably sure Tally handled the social media.
Yeah.
In that post, she said, "We started as strangers," referring to her and Rodri. Became friends, became more, became less, and ended as strangers. So they have had a very roller coaster of a relationship. She in another interview said, "I'm water, I'm fire, he's water." So he's and in a post on around the end of the year, she went through and basically said she's thankful for each of the band members, and she got to Rodri and said, "I guess we're thankful for this guy organizing stuff, writing most of the music and organizing most stuff. Bit of a twat otherwise." So yeah, they really did not get along outside of the music, and so I think my supposition is that they just couldn't handle each other anymore and just called it quits. And suddenly, obviously, you don't plan to call it quits with a tour booked.
Well, right, because like the post before that is, we're getting ready to, I think they just played their first London gig.
Yeah.
Or their first headlining London gig, at least, right before that.
Yeah. And so I'm not holding my breath, but I do have on some level a small bit of hope that they might patch things up.
Yeah.
If it ended that suddenly. But we'll see. Now, of course, You Say I'm Too Much, I Say Are Not Enough is Estron's debut and unfortunately, as far as we know, only studio album. It was released on October 5th, 2018 through Gofford Records in the UK and Roll Call Records in the US, produced by Steph Pringle, and features Tally Kallstrom on vocals, Roger Daniel on guitar, Steph Pringle on bass, and Toby Bang and or Adam Thomas on drums. I don't know who played on it. In that end of the year post, she said, "We're looking forward to performing and recording with Adam next year," which suggests that they hadn't recorded with them. And to be honest, neither of them has a particularly unique style, so I can't tell who played on the album.
Right. It's kind of my first criticism of the album, where the rhythm section feels like an afterthought.
Well, the drums do, but we'll get to that. But first,
there's a couple songs where the bass, is showcased, but not enough.
Before we get to that, reminder, I don't edit any songs into our episodes for copyright reasons, but down in the description and on our blog at johnoandscotto.com, you'll find links to the album on Spotify and YouTube. On to the first track, Lilac. Now, as I mentioned a couple of times in our previous review of their singles, Tally doesn't fuck around with their lyrics.
Right.
This song is about a rape. Which setting that as your first song on the album is really making a statement.
Wow, I didn't catch that lyrically. I mean, I didn't catch all the lyrics, of course.
But the bridge is he says, "Gimme, gimme, gimme." It's about a girl stealing from her mother and sneaking out to a bar.
Yeah.
And meeting a guy, and she and the pre-chorus is he says, "Gimme, gimme, gimme, gimme more. Won't rest till you're in my bed." And then hey, and the chorus is "Hey girl, it's not that fun. I see you crying in the rising sun."
Damn.
Second verse is about her. You're feeling all your solar plexus freeze as the sick rolls down your knees. The screen is blurry on your telephone. He can tell you're not. You can see you're not alone. You're all alone. And the part that really gave it to me, the bridge, the only line in the bridge repeated. He says, "Look who's laughing now." So that to me says rape.
Wow.
And this song is really representative of their punk side. And up until this album, they were really labeled as a punk band.
Which I don't get. I mean, it's, but then again, they'll label anything punk.
Yeah.
This is a lot more of a power pop,
And Tally always said they're not punk, they're heavy pop, is how she described it.
Yeah. And I mean, there's almost a ska feel to it. I mean, but a lot of this, for this track, of course, you get like a lot of the, Kinks, that kind of a rock feel to it.
Loved the kind of chaotic opening. Reminded me a lot of another one of their songs, Strobe Light. And the combination of guitar sounds is fascinating because you've got this heavy churning rhythm guitar and this bright kind of chimey sparse chords, which is really a hallmark of Raji's playing. He's very reminiscent of Andy Summers from The Police.
I kind of grew tired of his rhythm guitar playing, though. I like his solos.
See, we differ on that. That's interesting. Because to me, and I was gonna get into this on the next track, when he does actually solo, he reminds me a lot of Pete Townsend.
Yeah, I'm cool with his solos, but his rhythm guitar playing is very repetitive.
See, to me, his solos are very Pete Townsend, and as in he shouldn't take them. Townsend is one of the greatest rhythm guitarists of all time. Great song, writes some great music, but his solos are weak as hell. And Roger, to me, there's one solo on the album that I like, and it's more of a riff than a solo.
They're very brief, the solos. They're not extended or anything like that, but they worked, I felt. Anytime he took a solo, I felt maybe I was just relieved that he was finally not playing that same goddamn rhythm guitar that he's played on almost every track in this album. But
I do like the kind of atonal guitars building tension in the second verse. He plays around with the tonality a lot, and it really kind of plays to the tension of the lyrics. Also, I love how the bass kind of comes in up front on the line. Now I can see I'm not the only one. It's the only point on this song where you can really hear the bass.
I was going to say, it is very few and far between. You actually catch some bass on this.
Well, there are points where I think you're hearing it, you just don't know it's not a guitar.
Yeah.
He distorts his bass a lot. Onto track 2, Killing Your Love. This one's about a love addict. I think who Tally was in a relationship with. Love the lo-fi guitar sound in the verse. It's just this kind of thuddy, simple guitar sound.
I think in a lot of the songs I feel this way on this. It's just the mix doesn't work for me.
The kind of Police influenced guitar with that angry vocals and heavy bass.
I feel they, like, especially on these headphones, the
mix in that sense. Okay. The actual recording.
The guitar is higher in the mix than the vocals in some aspect, in some songs, I felt.
Not to me. One song definitely. Later on, one of the ballads. the vocals stood out to me. So I listened to it, in a very high quality copy on iTunes.
It wasn't
So
as
it
noticeable on
might be
the
Spotify.
earbuds, but
Okay.
but on like yeah, on these headphones, it was like it was kind of like why would the guitars be this loud in the
Mhm.
mix? It just didn't make any sense
Uh,
because she's doing like amazing things vocally,
yeah, yeah.
and some songs really so more so than others. But you were just getting like this. And it's not like the different guitar that he's playing in any.
Mhm.
That's why it draws the attention to
Yeah.
it. Like it
Um,
was high in the mix. You're like, it's the same goddamn thing he was playing in the last song.
and on Spot, because like I said, I listened to the iTunes version. Was this one a lot quieter than Lilac? Did you notice? Like
Um,
just in terms of general volume.
I'm trying to remember. I don't
You
think
didn't notice.
so.
Okay, maybe it's just my
No.
copy. Um, but to be honest, Tally's voice is about 60% of what I love about Estrons.
Oh yeah.
She's an amazing vocalist.
My
Um,
my percentage would be higher than that, but
yeah.
I mean,
And then it's like 35 Steph and then 25 Rodri.
so yeah.
The drummers I'm indifferent about.
As I was listening in, I was like, yeah, of course they should break up. She needs to find another band.
Um, I love how the bass and the vocals both do that half step intervals on the pre-chorus on your own part. That just has this kind of tense interval. Um, on the chorus, we finally get loud Tally though. Finally,
Yeah.
she didn't really, despite the subject matter and the intensity of Lilac, she didn't really scream. Um, love how the drums kind of pick up in the second verse, and the ethereal kind of guitar sounds right before the solo. His solos are just kind of boring and repetitive to me.
But they don't. I mean, they don't repeat long enough to be repetitive. I think they're usually very.
He's
There's no room to be repetitive because it's only a 3.5 minute song usually.
But he solos a lot like Kurt Cobain did. He just takes his little short melody and plays it a couple of times, and that's out, and he's out.
Hmm.
Um, and
There were
and
some that were completely different to the melody
well,
that I remember later on.
they weren't necessarily the vocal melody like Cobain always did.
Yeah.
But he just takes this little snippet of a melody and just plays it a few times, and he's out. His solos don't get interesting or creative at all. Not for me, anyway. On to track 3, "Make a Man."
Remember
This
this
is
song from
this
our
yeah
last
this
review?
There are 2 songs in the album that we've previously talked about. This is one of them. This is really the song that got them a lot of attention in the
Yeah.
beginning. Tally described this song as, quote, "the story of a heterosexual female's battle between desiring a man while simultaneously finding herself having little respect for his self-important ego and misogynistic attitudes toward women. She retaliates by objectifying him herself." And again, this is one of those points where she does not hold back lyrically.
Well, there's
And
the double entendre about whether she's gonna actually fuck him or kill him.
I actually heard that line more clearly this time because there's a line in the last verse, or I think it's in the last chorus. What I originally heard is, I want to fuck you. What was it? I want to fuck you and fuck you up. I heard now is, I want to fuck you and fuck you. So it's just repeatedly. And I love, again, the last verse, just the line 2 times and I can't even feel it. But this version just is kind of a remastered version of the original. Same
Okay.
arrangement, it's just louder. He did Roundtree did add some kind of ghostly guitar sound effects on the guitar that I don't think were in the first one. But yeah, it's just louder and more aggressive than the original, but very much the same arrangement. On to track 4, "Strangers." Probably the softest song on the album,
Hmm.
but also my favorite for the lyrics largely. Um, and the lyrics are just beautiful. And I love how the groove doesn't quite work, but it does because they're playing in 2 kind of different rhythms.
Well, I like the guitar he's using during the hook,
Mhm.
but of course during the verse, it's the same exact guitar, rhythm guitar. He just slowed it down this time.
Now, I'm not hearing the similarities that you are.
It's that Paramore guitar riff that he uses. It's kind of jangly, but there's a little hesitation to it, and kind of like he plays. It's almost the same riff in every song. And this one, he just did the same one, only slowed it down.
Mm. Love how the bridge is kind of clairvoyant when she says, "Now we're strangers again." Um, Now here's the part where the bass really stands out is during the solo because there's no rhythm guitar.
Right.
It's just distorted bass behind the
Hmm.
solo. I love how it gets really soft toward the end. It just
I
everything
do
cuts
too.
out.
This song is very nice. Yeah, I like this song too.
It really kind of shows off a lot of dynamics.
I think if this were mixed better, you definitely have that piano and heavier in the
There's no
mix.
piano. It's just guitar. It's all guitar.
You sure? Because there's like very faint in the
After you mean right
background.
after the solo, the really soft part
It's very faint in the mix.
throughout the whole song.
No, I think it's closer to the end.
Right? Is it that really soft part after the solo?
It's in it, but you
Um,
can't.
I
But
don't.
it's
That's
not
all
prominent
guitar. That's all guitar. He throws a ton of effects on it.
to get a piano sound.
It's just as nice. It's again, it's that chimey sound that I never heard of anything similar to a piano. But I'm also again, I listen to a lot of the Police, so I know where he got that sound from. And at the end, we get the classic Tally scream, which is again a weird change of pace on a really mellow song, but she just pleads at the end, which I loved. Now for something completely different, track 5, Body. This is the weakest to me. I do like how the bass play, is kind of up front on the riff and in the chorus.
Yeah.
Good groove. It does show off their dynamics a lot, but it's just a little too poppy for me.
The vocals are still interesting in it. And at 30 seconds in, I felt like, oh, well, I mean, at least it's a change. And he brings the same fucking guitar riff back in. I was like, why do you stop doing that? I mean, they didn't do this in the singles. Like they kind of did in a couple of the singles,
He's playing. There's
but they were different. There were some different songs in the singles. I felt.
hmm. I again, I'm not hearing that much similarity, but aside from just saying that's Roger's style, but I'm not hearing him playing the same thing over and over again. On to track 6, Jade. Now this is by far the heaviest.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites on the album.
Love the sort of sound effects at the beginning. I don't know if it sounds almost like a car engine revving, but it's probably just the guitar, kind of probably some Miami bar effects. And that beginning just tells you it's going to be heavy.
Yeah.
This is another one of my favorites, of course. More great distorted bass. That's the point where the bass really stands out. Is at the very beginning, and that riff comes in. That's all bass. That bass plays it a couple times, and then the guitar comes in.
It's a great bass line. Yeah.
And this is where we get Tally at full force, and her voice almost breaks on the chorus. And Roger gives us some great sound effects coming into verse 2. I'd love to know what the spoken vocal is during the bridge.
Oh, I can't. Yeah. Like what that is exactly.
Yeah, there's a couple of points where she just speaks something and it's too low in the mix to really hear it.
Yeah.
This and then not the next one, but the one after. On to track 7, Cameras. I'm really not sure what to think of this song. I love it lyrically. Tally wrote it for her son. It's beautiful lyrically.
It's nice. The chorus is very nice.
Mm-hmm. But this is the one where the vocal I think was a little too low in the mix. Nice off kilter groove.
Same guitar riff.
And this is when I first heard this before Strangers was released. Because this was released before the album. It was kind of an Estrons ballad, which is a weird thought to me. Loved the loud chorus though. And I just my only thought when hearing that chorus is, I hope she puts out some music soon.
And this is like the one where like the mix just really like pissed me off because
in this case the vocal is I even hear on this one the vocal is a lot lower than the guitar.
Right. It's like he does play something more interesting towards the end, the climax of the song.
The only solo I like, if you can call it a solo, because it's just repeating the same melody again.
Right. But I mean, still, she's doing these amazing vocals, and you're just putting the same guitar riff from the last 5 songs. Well, 5 of 6 songs before this.
On to track 8, Jesus. Now, my initial thought was this maybe was about religion, but listening to it a few more times, get really paying attention to the lyrics, I
With
think
a
it's
guy
just
named
a,
Jesus instead.
I think it's just about self doubt. I think the
Uh,
title, there's an ellipsis after the title. I think it's just an exclamation. It's really just about self doubt. Um, love the lead bass again before the vocal comes in is great. Great groove.
the chorus is very Bowie, like
Yeah,
from the Berlin trilogy era.
right, right. And the lyrics in the verse really kind of follow a 12-bar blues pattern, where it's statement and then a restatement. And this is another case where there's a spoken part before on the bridge. When it's "I'm so tired" is the sung part, and then she's saying something beneath that I can't really understand. On to track 9, Aliens. This is where he does change it up a bit.
Yes, yes, that's what happened. I spoke too soon. He's playing something different.
He's really channeling Andy Summers on this
It's
one.
like he's using a different effects pedal. I love it. Those are my notes.
And I think this is one of their older songs, if I'm not mistaken. Like it
Yeah,
predates all of the stuff that's on Spotify.
he goes back to that guitar for like the last 20 seconds too, though. It's like he even when he's doing something different, he just still goes back to the same thing. Like he can't stay away from it for one whole song.
I love the dichotomy between these really soft verses and the loud chorus. And the lyrics at the end, she just basically says the title. Yeah, you say I am too much. I say you're not enough.
Yeah.
You come in peace to kill our fun. She flat out said that's about her and Roger.
Wow.
That is their relationship.
It is one of the stronger tracks on the album.
And it just goes outright punk toward the end. And then it just abruptly transitions back to the verse. And finally, track 10, Drop. This is, again, another one that we've already talked about.
I had to go through the whole thing again. Like, who was this again? Oh, it was Kings of Leon. I had to, like, search the song. I completely forgot, like a goldfish, like what it was exactly, but I heard it all over again and had to run back and find it. And so I re-listened to the episode that we did, like Molly's Chamber by Kings of Leon, right?
I'll have to check it out.
I think he did, and yeah, it was pretty much the exact same riff.
This song was written while Tally was in jail. She said, I got arrested and I was bored, so I just started reciting these lyrics. No wonder I ended up getting charged. They must have thought I was mental. In the end, it was fine. Don't exactly remember what happened, but I think it started, like someone in the audience pissed her off and she threw her shoe at them.
You would think that happens often over there. Anyway.
And again, it's just a louder remaster. I know they re-recorded it all, but it really just sounds like a remastered version of the original. This actually sounds closer to the original than Make a Man did. Again, I don't know what the lyrics are about, but I do like the sound effects at the end. So do you recommend it?
Yeah, I was disappointed there was no Glasgow Kiss in here. That was one of the stronger tracks we did from the singles.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite song of theirs overall.
It's tough because, I mean, I really like her vocals, but don't like his guitar playing. Or the mix, really. So I don't know. I think I'd stick with the singles, honestly.
Okay. I recommend it. I've loved this band since the summer of 17 when I first found them. And I am really sad we won't be getting any more music from them.
Well,
I will.
Well,
from the band. Again, yes, Tally is 60% of what I love about the band, so I desperately hope that she goes on to make more music. Right now, I think she's probably just enjoying more time with her son. So, I hope she continues with me to put out music.
I mean, hook her up with Danger Mouse or something, man. I would love to hear Danger Mouse do like power pop, punkish kind of thing, but with his production values and his musical,
Estrons is kind of a side gig for Steph. He's mostly a producer.
Yeah.
So that's what he's doing now. Adam's probably moved on to a new gig. I honestly don't really care if Roger makes any more music because I like what he did. with Estrons, but it is very Andy Summers. And if I want to hear Andy Summers, I'll listen to the Police. I'm mostly just here for Tally and Steph's distorted bass. And again, but it's worth it for Tally.
So Steph produced this?
Yes.
And yet his bass is hardly, I mean,
Not
it's
compared
not prominent.
Well, compared to the last two singles, it's not, because he was all over those last two singles, Cold
Right.
Wash and Glasgow Kisses, which I think that's a little excessive, even as a bassist who loves his distorted tone. I'm a bass player myself. I think that was you can't really do that too often.
Right. But I mean, he's so low in the mix. Why would you put yourself so low in the mix?
Well, he's where a bass player typically is.
Yeah.
It's not mixed any lower than a typical bass part. And I think they were maybe doing that to do something more conventional, other than having him stick out like he did on those last two, or on the previous two songs. Like I said, I don't really care if Roger does anything after this. I probably won't. I'll check it out if he does, but I doubt I'll be too interested. Tally, I'm desperately hoping will continue.
Definitely.
She is. I don't know if she's up there with my favorite vocalists, Greg Lake and Paul Rogers. She's as good as those guys. I can't wait to hear more from her. Anyway, until next, that's it for You Say I'm Too Much, I Say You're Not Enough. Until next time, we will be reviewing Stain by Living Colour. Speaking of my favorite vocalists.
Oh, yeah.
Corey Glover, definitely up there with those guys as well. And this album was very interesting for them.
Oh, yeah.
Are you at all familiar with it?
No. Well, wait a minute. This is Stain?
This is the third one. Leave It Alone was the single.
Okay, yeah, I remember this, yeah.
Got very electronic and very interesting.
Yeah.
And also the first one with Doug Wimbish on bass. And it was the last one before their hiatus. They split up for what was like 10 years.
Yeah. It's a band that should have been a lot bigger than they were.
So that'll be very interesting. Until then, of course, always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there you are.
There you are.